Fulani jihadist expansion in Nigeria are proudly backed by the government funds. Now, these are not my words, but words born out for a deep research that was done for a very long period of time by the Catholic Herald. I mean, it has been confirmed by the Catholic Church worldwide that the one-time level of terrorism that has been committed continuously by the Fulani marauding herders is simple as ABC to wipe out the Christian populace, right? An investigation was conducted. This investigation elapsed within a period of 3 good years. And the scope of the investigation is the Middle Belt and the Southeast. It has been confirmed now that there are some elements, there are some, machinations, some policies that has been taken by the Nigerian government, which sort of align to achieve the Fulani Jihadist conquest agenda. I'm going to take you through the report now. As you can see it on my screen over there, I'm going to read it quickly. Now, a disturbing investigation claims that government in Nigeria are enabling Fulani jihadists to seize Christian farmlands and murder its inhabitants. Okay? The reports of this Fulani jihadist persecution in Nigeria, especially in Middle Belt, have circulated for years. According to the report, the project is allegedly backed by the federal funds and suspected external jihadist financing. What is this external jihadist financing? They said that finance that Buhari inaugurated or initiated, right? That is called the Islamic Developmental Bank. Now, it is true what these external forces are using to finance the Islamic jihad that is going on. Now, stay with me. In this report, they did an example of an Igbo man who was kidnapped from the Southeast. This man was taken to Zamfara, all right? He was taken to Zamfara. He was forcefully converted, right, to a Muslim. Now, they didn't kill him. They turned him to an evangelist. They gave this guy a lot of money that he should go back to the Southeast. And I've heard something like this going on within the axis of Ebonyi, Imo, and Enugu. I don't know if it is this same man that is being talked about in this investigation. They said that this man, right, was kidnapped to Zamfara, converted to Muslim, given a lot of money now to return back to the Southeast. Now he is doing what we call business setup, giving people money to have their businesses, and the only requirement is convert to Islam. And this man has successfully converted a lot of people, right, under a space of 3 years. Let me continue with the investigation report. Now, the project, Fulani Jihadist Conquest Project in Igbo land and the entire 5 southeastern states is openly and undeniably coordinated by the federal government. Holding brief for jihadists and their patrons. The project is also heavily funded using federal public funds and suspected, like I've said earlier. Now, let's push that aside. Southeast state governors are currently put under serious pressure to do the biddings of the Fulanese. Look at what Soludo said yesterday. Soludo came out and he said this.
I've been in office for three years and 3 months, okay? If we have arrested 100 criminals, non-mafia, kidnappers, and so on and so forth. 99.99% of them were Maki Igbo.
Hope you listen. Soludo said that 99.99% of kidnaps, attacks, terrorism acts going on in his own state, Anambra, are being committed by the indigenous. He is saying that these attacks are being perpetrated by Biafrans. IPOPs is trying to push everything onto the head of these people. And then I asked Soludo, where are your evidence? Because we have seen report right here on social media. We have seen videos. And this is why we must, as a people, do everything to ensure that the social media is never regulated. It is never taken away. You can imagine that we are still watching only NTA, Silverbird. I mean, all this traditional TV media. You know how they censor them, how they control it, right? Now, this investigation, which is being done by the Catholic, which I will believe 1,000 times before I believe any local news media, right? They have said that the Fulani Jihadist agenda in Nigeria is fully backed by the Nigerian government, backed by some external forces. And again, the next target when Middle Belt falls is the Southeast. That they have started having inroads. That the inroads right now and how they would decimate the Southeast has been activated right from the governors. In the whole of Southeast today, the one man who seems not to be apologetic or to be sympathetic to this conquest of this Fulani Jihad is Alex Oti. In that report, it was stated that Alex Oti has only been the one man who has taken that conscious effort to actually see to tackling these marauding headers. That the governor of Enugu State came out the last time when people were being killed in Heyamufu and Doni. These are axes. These are boundaries that share, these are areas that share boundaries with southern part of Benue and of course Kogi. The governor of Enugu State, Peter Umba, came out and said, no, that these are lies. These are lies being fabricated by the political opposition. That there is nothing like insecurity in Enugu State. That indeed that the Fulani marauding herders are not even killing anybody. That everything that is being said on social media are all lies to derail his government because he is successful. And then I asked Peter Umba, whose interest are you protecting? I mean, whose interest are you sincerely protecting? Yeah. Should I go to Imo State? In Imo State, we know that the current governor of Imo State, Opuzodinma, literally established an IDP camp for every displaced northerner. Whether you are from Borno, whether you are from Zamfara. Opuzodinma has said that Imo State is welcoming to all Fulanese. That wherever they are from, as long as they are Nigerians. And then I ask, are they actually true Nigerian Fulanese? Because we know historically that the Fulanese are not in any way affiliated. They are not in any way original indigens. We know that the Fulani, right from the get-go, were never aborigines. They don't have any hometown, any village. They do not have any ancestral connection with the contraption called Nigeria. We know this. And this is where the federal government comes in. They keep coercing the government, the state governors. And it is shocking to me to see that the southeastern governors, all of them, with just the exception of Alex Oti. But I don't know if Alex Oti will be able to withstand it, because a tree cannot make a forest. We know what happened in the southwest. How one man, may his soul rest in peace, Akeredolu single-handedly fought the Fulani agenda. He confronted Buhari while all the southeastern governors were all mute. They were all fighting Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, who is not even their enemy. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu was advising them that ensure ESN gets the federal government approval to be fully recognized by the Nigerian government. But what we saw was the southeastern governors are all sabos, efulefus. Just take a look at what Soludo is doing. The southeastern common governors will rather sell their people just to look good in the sight of the Fulani man. I don't know why that is so. Maybe it's because the Igbos have never had that close war with the northern oligarchs, perhaps. The time they had a war, which I cannot categorically say it is with the Fulanese, because we had the Yorubas, we had some people from the Middle Belt who even fought on the side of the Nigerian army, right? Maybe they have, because they've never had that brutal war with the Fulanese. Maybe that is why these politicians, or maybe they're just cowards, either ways, right? I cannot get both sides wrong. You see why the Southwest are just, they're decisive in their actions, thanks to Akeredolu, who fought single-handedly that no, Buhari, we will not watch our eyes and then your boys, because if you look at the map of Nigeria, you will understand that the Fulani marauding areas are closer to the southwest than to the southeast. Yes, because all they need to do is come through Ilorin. Ilorin is already a vassal state for the Fulanese, because right there in Ilorin, what they have there as the king is an area who pays tribute to the Sultan of Sokoto. So easily they can come to the southwest through Ilorin and into Oyo State. Of course, by extension, they can get to Ondo, Ekiti, Lagos, Ogun, Osun, and all that. When Akeredolu saw this, he said, no. We have to cut it short. And then that birthed the regional security, outfit called Amotekun. While Alex Oti is doing something wonderful, we must understand that a tree does not make a forest. Alex Oti has created what we call Abia State Homeland Security, that are established to actually combat and, of course, checkmate the terrorism going on in the forests. But what do we have? Instead of Soludo, instead of we to have Uzodimma, instead of us having Francis Uwafuru, all collectively coming together and speaking in one voice, what they are doing is they are even speaking against the agenda of Alex Oti. And this is why I would take that Catholic report and investigation so seriously, because they have said that the federal government is backing this jihad conquest agenda. They are using all manners of policies. They created what we call rural urban grazing areas, whereby a route that will cut across the cities of southern states. If you say that you are banning open grazing, they'll tell you that this area has been gazetted by the federal government, that the herders can graze their cattle. Then you have conflicting interests, because the Fulani herder will see himself as a federal child, that you cannot stop him. The federal government has endorsed him, has given him that credibility and accessibility and approval to graze his cattle. It is not your own. This, he will say that this property is a federal property. And when you resist, they bring in their machines and guns like what they did in Middle Belt. And before you know it, they'll kickstart that conflict and riot. And when they start attacking people, because this is exactly what is playing out in Middle Belt. When they attack and then they kill, they maim people, the federal government will not get to a point that, you know what, let us agree to a truce. Let us allocate this land for these people. Just as they have done in Plateau, just they have done in Benue. Let us allocate about maybe 10,000 hectares of land for them to graze. They can build their homes. That will now become the Fulani community. You know, you can see the tactics. And like I said, originally, these people are not in any way historically Nigerians. These are people who migrated all the way from Senegambia down into Nigeria. And all of a sudden, we can see their agenda playing out. We can see their plans playing out on how they are grabbing people's land systematically, using federal power, federal might, and external forces, using some high level of finance, which they tag Islamic Developmental Bank. So when your state seek a fund from the Islamic Bank, which so many of the Nigerian states have done, most especially in the south. The last time I saw Alex Soti collecting funds from the Islamic Bank, I was like, Alex Soti, you are collecting money from Islamic Bank. You have to be very careful, because they will come with their conditionalities and terms. Are you ready to pay the price? Are you ready? Because when you dine with the devil, you must understand that it doesn't come as a charity. There is always a day of reckoning. So many states that have had their hands deep into those financiers and I mean such sort of funds, I've always had it difficult to pull out. Yes, because they will tell you they want to establish the Sharia bank. They will tell you, they'll start dictating to you that, well, because you will all of a sudden become dependent on them. And then they start telling you, your people, that, you cannot invest in pig farming. Why don't you invest in this? We don't give monies to these kinds of investments because we see it as an haram. We only give money to business that are halal, that are what? Sharia oriented. And from there on, they systematically start infiltrating the system. I don't know, maybe those, not, don't let me limit this to only the Southeast. This should be a wake-up call for all our southern governors. If you're just joining, please kindly like, subscribe, and share. Bye for now.